Yo, what's up, and welcome inside the Open Line. Corey and Benny coming to you on a Tuesday. What's going on, Benny?
Yeah, not too much, man. Just reading up on some Twitter beefs from last night while we wait to start the show here today, man. There's a lot of guys with some beer muscles out there. So some Twitter fingers are going a little crazy last night.
And the thing about it is interesting about the Twitter fingers, whatever. You know what I mean? A lot of the people in the high stakes community, you're probably not going to be at the Flex, whatever. But the Flex is in New York now. A lot of people going to be at the Flex.
I'll be at the beach.
Yeah, you'll be at the beach.
I got my priorities straight, Corey. I don't know that. Football in the middle of the summer or the beach? It's pretty easy for me.
You have the Kings Classic coming up, and it's going to be the Kings Classic is a mix. So people that's upset about certain things will have a chance to speak about it at the Kings Classic face-to-face. And then you have the big drafts in Vegas going down at the end of August. So if anybody that you have a beef with on Twitter, or like you said, Benny, with the bear muscles, you get a chance to actually see them face-to-face. And guess what normally happens when you see them face-to-face, Benny?
They shake your hand and they say, "Oh man, we're just pulling around. It's all good." Yeah, yeah.
I'm a big fan.
Mm-hmm.
So there you go, right there. And that's normally how these things play out. And I'm definitely looking forward to the month of August and getting out there with all the people. You know who I found out was going to be in the Flex this year, Benny? And I absolutely, I always want to see all the guys and stuff like that. But it's some people that you've never met or, that you want to hang with and stuff like that. Kenny from RotoWare is going to be in the Flex.
Oh, yeah?
Yes.
Yeah. I love the RotoWare guy. I've honestly never met them in real life. At least I don't think I have. I mean, maybe, before everything kind of blew up. I love those guys, man. Those guys are awesome.
Yeah, Kenny is he's a cool cat. Been doing stuff with Kenny for a couple years now. So he'll be in New York for the Flex. He's actually a Westchester County guy, born and raised in Westchester County.
Oh, nice. Where does he live now?
In Miami.
Does not suck to be him.
Yes.
I like him already. If I knew nothing else about him, I'd like him already.
So he'll be up for the Flex. Speaking of RotoWare, do you see where CC Sabathia wears RotoWare exclusively almost? You know what I'm saying?
Does he really?
Yeah, every time I see CC Sabathia, he got a RotoWare shirt on. Speaking of CC Sabathia, good call once again yesterday, because he got lit up like a Christmas tree.
Yep, at plus money too. So made some good money on the Twins last night. Made some good money on the Twins last night. Made some really good money on the Mariners last night. Yesterday was a good day. I mean, I had a good day again yesterday. So hopefully we can keep this rolling because got a lot of bills to pay off for that house.
There you go, right there. Make sure that you continue to get it done. What else took place? We'll get into the Odell stuff in a little bit. It's always a controversy with Odell, but hopefully these things can start to slow down now. Also going to get into the Melvin Gordon thing. There's some interesting things going on with Melvin Gordon that I think people need to be paying attention to as we come up on draft season. But as far as everything else goes, Benny, just kind of looking forward to the upcoming season because of fantasy is expanding in so many different ways. And, yesterday I did yesterday got a lot of work done yesterday, right?
That's a good thing.
But I did the wrong thing, though, Benny.
Okay, so maybe it wasn't a good thing.
Well, it was good because, it means I'll have a break a little bit later on in the week.
Mm-hmm.
But I was supposed to do the Dynasty for the Fantasy Guru Draft Guide.
Okay.
Fantasy Guru, the site that's all of a sudden over the past 2 years has fallen off a cliff.
Right. Says the FF whatever with 4,000 followers. But go ahead.
Yeah, exactly. So yesterday I was supposed to do and record to post today the Dynasty strategies with Russell Clay.
Okay.
But I misread the schedule and I did the alternate scoring formats with Tyler Beaker.
Okay.
So now I have the podcast that's due on Thursday is done. The one that's due today is not. And I'm like, oh, God, I got this all screwed up, whatever. So now I got to get on with Russell. Me and Russell will work out a time and we'll get the Dynasty League done. And that'll be Fantasy Guru Draft Guide later on today. I'm not a real big Dynasty player, but doing the alternate scoring format yesterday, Tyler was like, well, what's the alternate scoring format? When you think about it, anything besides standard is alternate scoring. So PPR, half PPR, and all of that stuff is all considered alternate scoring because the majority of fantasy footballers, people that watch and listen to us, Benny, are savvy players. But
right.
The majority of players playing a 10-team standard. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, my wife last year at her office, they did a, like $100 league, and she got in it, was texting me the whole time, who do I draft, what do I do this? But they played like standard scoring, 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, 1 tight end, 1 quarterback, no flexes, a defense, and a kicker. Like, I honestly, I said to her, I was like, babe, I haven't played like this in 10, 15 years is the last time I played this format. I'm like, I'm like, this is like 1980s fantasy football right here. I was like, I'm not even sure if I know how to play. I was like, I don't even remember. I was like, it's been so long since I actually drafted a kicker on any team that I played on. Because I despised the kicker when they had it on FanDuel. Like, I wouldn't even play on FanDuel when they had kickers for a while. So, it's pretty funny.
Yeah, 100%. Because I do the same thing. Like in the years in the past, it'd be girlfriends or a girl I know or something like that, or my son's mother, my daughter's mother. They'll have leagues at their jobs, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Like you said, $50, $100, and I'll normally, I'll run it for them like when I have the time. You know what I'm saying? Because I got more important leagues, but I'll help them draft, and then I'll, more or less like November. Then I'll check back in and be like, okay, let's get to the scheme now. Let's go ahead and win this. That'd be extra $200-$300 for Christmas or whatever the case may be. And that's how it normally goes. Those leagues, though, are very difficult to win.
They are.
Those leagues are so random. You know what I'm saying? The most random things normally happens in those leagues. And when the style we play is we can kind of control, you know what I'm saying, the outcomes. In those leagues, it's kind of just like shit happens.
Well, the other thing, too, that always drove me nuts is they don't have like a FAB. It's just like rolling waiver wire. It's like, you want to pick somebody up, just go pick them up. Like, guys are getting hurt in the middle of the game, and people are picking up their backups already before the news has even come out. So it's tough. I don't know how people play fantasy football that way, but hey, as long as you're in the game, I guess you're in the game. You know what I mean?
One of us, you know what I'm saying, Benny. My thing is really like I tell people to read those rules 2 or 3 times. Especially before you ask me to run it, because I be in some of these leagues and I bet this is stupid. You know what I'm saying? This don't make no sense. You can't win like this. You know what I mean? This is basically luck when it comes down to it and boils down to it at this point. But speaking of alternative leagues, Benny, I see a lot of the pay-for-play companies this year have the guillotine leagues, and I think it's a very interesting format.
Mm-hmm.
I want to try it. But I don't want to put no big money behind it because I can't figure out a way to handicap it. And
so break this down for me. What is a guillotine league? Because I have no idea.
16 teams in the league, right?
Okay.
Every week, the team that scores the least amount of points is eliminated.
I like this.
The thing about it is, Benny, you put up $500 on one of these teams.
Right.
And week 1, you are last place. That's $500 gone before you get to damn Labor Day. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no. But I mean, at the same point in time, if you get all the way to the finals here, you're talking what, $7,000-$8,000? Is it like winner take all, or
you can win the most? I think most of them have top 3. I gotta look at it, to kind of see the scoring configuration. But yeah, every week the last place team is eliminated.
So it's like a survivor, basically.
It's like a fantasy football survivor. Now, some of them, once that team is eliminated, their players go into a FAB pool. You know what I'm saying? But some of them, that's wild right there.
Yeah, that I don't like.
Mm-hmm.
Because then basically by the end of the season, you're just basically playing all-star team against all-star team.
Yeah, so I think
you're going to have everybody.
That's tough right there. So I like it, the ones better that don't have the FAB, more the best ball style. But the thing about it is, Benny, is no way to handicap it. It's just luck.
Well, see, this is more luck than anything else because when you come in last place, like when you have a week where you come overall in last place, it's usually because you started Aaron Rodgers and he broke his collarbone in the first 2 minutes of the game. Or, you put, running back X in there and running back X gets his leg broken on a sweep on the third series. You know what I mean? Like that's how you end up with the lowest score, because you wind up having like a losing record. You wind up having a bunch of guys with like zeros or something like that. That's like you said, it's not skill at that point. It's just being lucky and avoiding the injuries,
Exactly. And that's why, I will put $50 on it. You know what I'm saying?
I agree. I'd rather be in a big money league where I'm able to manage the team and draft the team and make moves and stuff like that.
Throughout the course of 16 weeks.
Yeah.
This way we can see how we equal up. But in a 1 week thing, I might as well take that $500 and put it on the Cowboys. You know what I'm saying? Or whatever, some team.
It's not a scratch-off lottery ticket. It's better than a scratch-off lottery ticket, because you have some control over at least drafting your team. But for the most part, after the draft, it's a scratch-off lottery ticket. You got to hope that, you're not the guy whose players get hurt and has a, all-time horrible fantasy football week.
There you go. Before we hop into touch on some of these NFL topics, trade deadline coming up, Benny.
Mm-hmm.
What names do you think are going to be moved, and who? And the Mets are tricky, and they're sneaky and they're slimy. Are the Mets going to move one of their pitchers to the Astros?
Very likely. It is very likely to be Zach Wheeler. Put it this way: Zach Wheeler's going somewhere. Because there's a lot of teams that are interested. His name is getting kicked about. Honestly, even the teams that are. I don't feel like you're going to see as many bats, big name bats, wind up moving as a lot of people think. I think it's going to be a lot of pitching, because this year, especially with the juiced ball era that's going on, pitching is what every team needs. Literally every team. I don't care who you are. There's not a single team in the league that can say, no, we're happy with all the pitching we have right now. Everybody going for it needs a little bit of pitching. So you're going to see people overpaying for a guy like a Zach Wheeler, maybe a guy like a Marcus Stroman right there. I'd have to look at some of the other guys who are on. Basically, if your team is out of the playoff race right now, so if you're in like the bottom 2 or 3 in your division, you're probably willing to sell any pitcher you have that has less than 2 years remaining on their contract, because there are enough people out there that are willing to buy and that'll overpay you with prospects so you can kind of reload. So that's the way that I think it's going to wind up working out. Like the Yankees definitely need pitching. The Phillies could use some pitching. The Red Sox can use some pitching. You can go top to bottom, all the top teams in the league. Even the Astros, like you said, could use another pitcher or two. So there's a lot of teams out there that are going to be looking for the same guys, and that's how you wind up getting people overpaying with stud prospects for, guys like Marcus Stroman and Zach Wheeler, who are 3rd or 4th pitchers in your rotation.
Yep, and those are the names: Stroman, Wheeler, Madison, Bumgarner. I think Bumgarner stays put, though. I think if I'm not mistaken, the A's are making a push now too, right?
Well, Bumgarner
hot in the second half of the season.
Yeah, they always do. That's just kind of their thing. But the Giants have been on fire. They're like 13-3 in their last 16 games. So I don't know if the Giants are going to be looking to move anybody. I think they might actually wind up being buyers instead of sellers now after this run.
Wouldn't that be interesting? After all of that's been said over the past couple of weeks and months about Mad Bum. All right, so before we get to Odell, let's touch on Melvin Gordon. Melvin Gordon, this could happen. This is where there's smoke, there's fire. This could happen.
I told people, listen, we had this discussion 2 weeks ago, right? The day that it came out, we were sitting here. I was 4 picks away from grabbing Austin Eckler in my Scott Fishbowl draft, and as soon as it got around to my pick, I hopped on it, and I made this exact same argument. I said, listen, nobody thought at this time last year that Le'Veon Bell was not going to play. There were people who said, there's a chance, but everybody said, they'll figure it out. They'll get something done. Maybe he'll miss preseason, but he'll be back there. Le'Veon Bell walked away from a $20 million contract last year. Yeah. Melvin Gordon's contract's only like $2-3 million. This is the last year of his rookie deal. It's a lot easier to walk away from $2 or $3 million than it is to walk away from $20 million. So if Le'Veon Bell did it last year, I honestly, I don't think it's crazy. And like I said, the Chargers are not paying Melvin Gordon. They are not going to give Melvin Gordon a long-term deal. The Cowboys will do it for Zeke because Zeke is Zeke.
And the Cowboys have a quarterback on a rookie contract.
Yeah, the Chargers.
over that player.
Yeah.
He's not going anywhere. You know what I'm saying?
Yep. The Chargers are not going to pay Melvin Gordon, and I would honestly be shocked if he plays.
He's going to dig in because the way the CBA is structured, see, Le'Veon Bell had already paid on the franchise tag. So Le'Veon Bell was like, I got $20 million last season. I'm good. You know what I'm saying?
I'm going to hang out in Miami. Yeah.
Yeah, Melvin Gordon is like, okay, I haven't played on the franchise tag yet, right? But I can preserve myself this season, come back in week 10, play those last couple of weeks, and then in the offseason, they're going to put me on the franchise tag. And then I can make $15, $16 million. I'll play on the franchise tag, and then I'll sit out the next season. You know what I mean? That's basically what the game is right now. His clock is not going to start. That's a baseball term. But they can't hold a year of free agency against him because he's still underneath his first contract. So Melvin Gordon, it's a good chance will sit out the first 10 games of this season.
Yeah. And, again, we talked about it right after this happened, too. You look at the games last year where Melvin Gordon missed. Justin Jackson is a good running back, but all he really does is run. So he's going to take some of those carries, and Austin Eckler is going to take some of those carries, and Austin Eckler is still going to get all the passing down work. So to me, of the two guys here, the guy you still want to own is Austin Eckler. Yep. I want Austin. Don't get me wrong. I don't mind Jackson a little bit later on, but Austin Eckler is the guy that people should be going after. And, he moves up now into that like late 20s, early 30s in the running back rankings.
Yep, and I agree with you on that. I think you're definitely going to see that those guys start to move up draft boards, and Melvin Gordon is already starting to drop and stuff like that. But did you see this thing that happened in my neighborhood a couple of nights ago?
What was it?
With the people throwing water on the cops?
No, I didn't see.
Yeah, it was a low point. You know what I'm saying? So I apologize on behalf of the citizens of Harlem, New York. You know what I mean? You can't just be throwing water on the cops. You know what I'm saying? I understand it's been some tough times, but that shit is whack. Throwing water on the cops is stupid. I just wanted to say that. That's not nice. You know what I'm saying? Tim Duncan coming back as a head coach. As an assistant coach. What do you think about that?
Big fundamentals. There's a lot of guys. There's a lot of big guys in the NBA right now that want to shoot threes and have no inside presence, no post moves, no nothing. So I'm all for it, man. Tim Duncan – people used to make fun of Tim Duncan because he played like a robot, but he played like a robot and just racked up rings. So he obviously did something right.
Yeah, you're right. He did rack up rings, and he did a good job. So shout out to Tim Duncan. But like I said, like you mentioned, Benny, he is coming into a NBA that in a short time is not the NBA that he left. You never saw Tim Duncan standing out by the 3-point line.
He did shoot jump shots though, but it was from like 12 feet. It was from like 10 or 12 feet away, and it was always a bank shot, but they all went in. Now it's just guys step back another 10 feet from where he started doing it. So
if you see some of these kids playing AAU, everybody's a stretch five. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's a stretch five. The closest thing that you have now, Benny, to a true center is dudes that are rim runners. Those are the centers now.
You know what's funny, Corey, that you mentioned that? I actually went to an AAU tournament 2 weeks ago, right? My brother still coaches high school basketball and has a bunch of his kids playing AAU, runs an AAU program and all that stuff. So basically the offenses that every team runs right now is like 5 around the perimeter. Mm-hmm. It's literally like the 2 big guys stand in the corner, the 2 guards stand on like a little bit up from like where the normal wing would be, so you have some spacing. And the whole idea, every single team runs the exact same thing. It's dribble drive, whoever comes to get you, kick out for a 3.
Yep.
Dribble drive, whoever comes to double you, kick out for a 3, or you have your point guard go. So every team has a really good ball handler, and then everybody else stands around in the corner and shoots. And that's literally it. It's just like back and forth, one-on-one. Like it looks like the NBA right now. There's no one's running plays. No one's doing any of this stuff. It's like it's ridiculous.
That's what they're doing on the AAU level. Mm-hmm. They're developing you to play in the NBA. But the thing about it is, how about you develop them to be a basketball player?
See, here it's funny when I was a kid, like the AAU team I played on, we went to the national championship, a bunch of years. We missed at 14, but 13, 15, 16, 17, we went there. And when you go there, you have to sit through this whole like student athlete spiel, like you guys are the ones likely to be college athletes, and here's what it means to be a college athlete, and blah, 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 blah. But one of the things that always got me that I thought was kind of cool is they sit you down and they say, all right, there are, and I forget the exact numbers, but, 100-something thousand high schools in America. So if you're the best player in your high school, you're still only one of 100,000 something kids. Of those high schools, there are 300 and something Division I schools with 12 players on it. So 3 players a year. So only 1,000 kids a year are going to wind up getting a Division I scholarship. Of those 1,000 kids a year that get a Division I scholarship, there are 2 rounds of 30-something teams in the NBA draft. So only 60 of you are going to get drafted. So like they put all the numbers up on the board and you look at the numbers and it's like, you're one of, 12 million kids playing high school basketball. That becomes one of 1,000 kids that play Division I basketball. That becomes one of 60 kids that make it to the NBA. And, 50-something% of NBA players fail within 2 years. Yeah, so they're basically sitting there like, and you're sitting there with every other kid that's there. Like all the teams are there in this big-ass conference hall. And they're like, so basically in this whole room full of, 4,000 or 5,000 basketball players, there's one of you in this room, maybe 2, that wind up making it to the NBA one day. And then they look at you and they're like, well, what are the other 3,998 you going to do with your life? And I was like, fuck you, But like, when you hear the numbers and you see it all like that, it's, it's pretty stark. You realize that, your chances of being an NBA player are pretty damn slim.
Well, what I will tell you is what ends up happening, especially in today's society, quicker. Like, it's cats out there now that's 11, 12 years old, and they're like, I'm going to be playing in the NBA. You can tell it quicker nowadays than you can in the past. You know what I'm saying? When you leaving your neighborhood to go to IMG Academy, it's a good chance you're going to go to the NBA. And you're 13 years old at that point.
Yeah, well, I mean, I even see it, I was talking about this with my wife this year. Like, our kid played travel baseball this year, which is like the first time he's played. He's always played like in the recreation league and stuff, and he's pretty good, but it's a different level when you go and you start playing like travel baseball and stuff. There are kids on his team that were not even like, it was a 10-year-old team. There were kids that were 9 years old out there that are literally spending their entire summer going to camps, getting like individual coaching by like position, like pitching coaches and stuff like that. Like, my kid is not the greatest athlete, but he's better than average, and he likes to play. So he's like I'm sitting there saying that, and I said to my wife, I said, you got to understand the way things are. Like, when we were kids, you played every sport. You went basketball, you went baseball, football, soccer, whatever it was. There were kids that swam or played hockey or whatever, but you played a sport every season, a different sport. Nowadays, like, again, 9 years old, and the kid's spending his entire summer going to camps and playing in tournaments and getting individual drills and stuff like that. So to your point, I mean, kids and parents are literally starting these kids at, before they're even, like, my son's in 4th grade, before they're even in 4th or 5th grade, these kids are training like they're college athletes. So there's upside and downside to it. I mean, again, you get a college scholarship, you save your parents $100,000. Yeah, I guess you could say it's worth it, but for every kid that gets one, there's a lot of other kids who may have done the same thing and given up their childhood and not gone down the shore and hung out and all that stuff that I'm probably never going to make it,
There you go. One of the guys that did make it, Benny, is Odell Beckham. And Odell Beckham, his feelings are still hurt about what took place in the offseason. I agree with Odell, a lot of his stuff. You know what I'm saying? Because the Giants are like, what I've noticed about the Giants is the Giants don't win with stars. You factor out Lawrence Taylor, you know what I'm saying?
Okay.
But the Giants don't win with stars. The Giants win as a team and as a unit. And Odell referenced in that article that he was bigger than the brand and he was carrying the brand. Mm. And I guarantee you, the Giants was like, we can't have one guy bigger than the organization because we're at his mercy. You know what I'm saying? First of all, he already figured out that Eli sucks. You know what I'm saying? We don't want him to ruin this young quarterback psyche. We got to move him. You know what I'm saying? Now, the way it all went down with Gettleman and all of that, it could have been handled better. But if I'm Odell, I'm like, okay, let me bring it down a notch now because I'm out of there now. You know what I'm saying? Now I can go play for a contender with a quarterback, let them do their thing. I think he doesn't like the way he was treated down the stretch, and I would agree with him on that. When they finally told him they were getting ready, that they were taking offers for him, then he got traded like 2 hours later. They asked him where he wanted to go. He said the Cowboys. They were like, oh, we're not going to do that. You know what I'm saying? But the bottom line of the matter is, Odell's a little butthurt. I think it's a good thing because I think he's going to finish his wide receiver. I think he's going to have a phenomenal year, man. He's going to go the F off this year.
I don't disagree.
But also, he needs to prepare to play football in Cleveland and forget about the New York Giants.
Now, see, that's the part of this that I agree with, right? It's like, you know, you made your noise while you were here because you wanted things to change. You got to change, whether it was the change you wanted or not. You know, you wanted them to change the quarterback and get somebody other than Eli in there. They decided that the change they needed to make was getting rid of you.
Yeah.
You said your piece after that happened. You blew it up. You went on TV. You had your interview. You did all that stuff. You know, you told them, you know, you aired all your dirty laundry about the organization. I have no problem with that part of it. My problem is once you do that, though, once you go out there, once you get everything off your chest, once you get your story out in the open, like you said, now it's time to move on. Let the Giants be the dysfunctional Giants without you. You go now and concentrate on winning a Super Bowl with the Cleveland Browns. You got a quarterback that you obviously said you like right now in Baker Mayfield. You have other teammates who you played with and get along with. You have other guys that have talent around you there. You are in a good situation moving forward right now. You got yourself out of the bad situation in New York, put yourself in a good situation in Cleveland. If I'm Odell Beckham, the best thing he can do for himself right now is, like you said, go out there this year, catch 100 balls, get your 12, 1,500 yards receiving, put up your 10 touchdowns, and then know that everybody in the league is going to look at the Giants and be like, you guys are absolute fools for trading this guy. That's how you get back at them right now.
That's how you do it. It can't be – listen, I understand he didn't go to GQ and be like, hey, y'all do an expose on me. They can't him. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I know he was open and forthright, but my thing is with Odell is tone it down on the Giants a little bit because, you know, you're making yourself look bad.
You're like a scoring ex-girlfriend right now. You know what I'm saying? It's like, yo, you got out of the relationship you didn't want to be in. You know, who cares who the Giants are fucking now? You know what I mean? Who cares who your ex-girlfriend's with at this point? You didn't want to be with her anyway, so who cares? You know, like you just look jealous when you do stuff like that. Just let them go and be dysfunctional on their own.
Yeah, and that's the whole thing about it. One thing I will say about the Giants, I would not be surprised if they're going to go through this with Saquon Barkley also. Because the bigger the brand of the player gets, if it's not the quarterback, it's going to be a problem.
So let me ask you a question, Corey. Saquon Barkley's on his rookie deal, right? So we're talking probably, 3 or 4 years before it would even come to that point?
Yeah.
So here's my question. Is Eli Manning still the starting quarterback at that point in time when Saquon Barkley leaves? That's what I want to know.
That'd be crazy. That would be effing crazy. He's probably going to look for an extension 2 years from now. They're probably going to be like, screw you. Then the 3 years from now, they're going to either have to extend him or he's going to do what Melvin Gordon's about to do. You know what I'm saying? Because he's a running back. You know what I mean?
And again,
need to get paid before they go on a franchise tag.
And this is part of the thing too. Like, you know, when you have all these people on Twitter that, don't draft a running back or draft a running back, whatever, it's stupid to take Saquon Barkley. I mean, I've heard all the arguments from both sides. But this is another thing that you now have to factor into the equation. When you draft the running back early like they did, like Melvin Gordon, like Todd Gurley, like Saquon Barkley, every one of these guys is either going to hold out at this point or they're going to expect to get re-upped like Gurley did last year. You know what I'm saying? So you have to factor that in when you're drafting these guys is, you know, everyone's winning with quarterbacks on rookie deals.
And that's, at least the Giants will have that when Barkley comes up. They'll have a quarterback on a rookie deal unless they extend Eli, which is not out the question.
Like I said, he could still be the quarterback when Saquon has this problem 3-4 years down the road. I don't know.
Oh man, Benny. Oh man, I tell you, that's wow. That'd be crazy if Eli's still the quarterback. They extend Eli, don't extend Saquon. The MVP. I just thought about something. Player futures. I wonder what Odell is to win the MVP.
I would say he's got to be at least 1,000 to 1 or greater.
10,000.
Wide receivers don't win.
Wide receivers don't. They'll give it to the quarterback before they give it to the wide receiver.
And if it's not the quarterback, it's a running back who has like a 2,000-yard season. Like I don't even know what numbers you would have to put up as a wide receiver to win the MVP. You have to put up, 150 catches, close to 2,000 yards and 15, 20 touchdowns?
Randy Moss didn't win the MVP when he had the 22 touchdowns.
That's what I'm saying. So, what numbers do you have to put up to win an MVP as a wide receiver?
If a wide receiver catches 22 touchdown passes, the MVP is going to the quarterback. You know what I'm saying?
Right. The only way that doesn't happen is if the quarterback gets hurt in week 8 and it's two separate guys that each, threw 25 on the season or something. You know what I mean?
I wonder what Ezekiel Elliott is. Ezekiel Elliott is plus 4,000.
I honestly think it'll be this way. They should just do away with the MVP or do a positional MVP.
Yeah,
like a running back MVP, a quarterback MVP, a wide receiver MVP.
They basically become a quarterback award. You know what I'm saying?
And even a Heisman Trophy. I said that last year. It's like the Heisman Trophy is kind of the same way. Like there are, like Charles Woodson was a great defensive player and kick returner and all that stuff. Like it's going to be impossible for anybody other than a quarterback, especially in college football right now with the numbers college football players put up, the video game stats they put up. I don't see how anybody other than a quarterback or a running back is going to win the Heisman or the MVP, the two biggest things in football for college and professional football for literally the rest of time. I can't even fathom the numbers that a receiver would have to put up in order to be in the conversation.
It's got to be crazy. Speaking of Heisman Trophy, Trevor Lawrence, Sunshine, the quarterback for Clemson. He looks like Sunshine.
100%. I'm not. If you've never seen the movie and you watch the movie, it's 100% true.
Remember the Titans. The quarterback from California, and remember the Titans, Sunshine. Sunshine and Trevor Lawrence is the same dude. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Sunshine is plus 200. Remember the Titans is a great movie, Benny. It's a great,
unbelievable movie. Yeah. First time I saw that movie, I was like, "Oh my god, this is the best movie I've ever seen."
Yeah, I remember the Titans.
Best sports movie ever.
Yeah, it's a great movie. And it's funny thing about it is my daughter's grandfather went to T.C. Williams at the time when that was going on.
That's crazy.
Yeah, he went to TC at the time when that was going on. Shout out to my man Larry. Pop. Trevor Lawrence is plus 200. Tua is. I'm not in season mode to get his last name right yet. You know what I'm saying? Come September, Benny, I'll be like Tua Tagovailoa. You know what I'm saying?
I butcher last names all the time in every sport, so I don't even care. Yeah.
Right now, Tua is plus 350. Justin Fields is plus 1,200. Jake Fromm is plus 2,000. Jalen Hurts is plus 2,000. I would drop something on Tua at plus 350. In order for Jake Fromm can't win. If Tua wins, Jake Fromm can't win because they're not going to give it to the Georgia quarterback. Or they're going to cancel each other out. Jalen Hurts, who I think is a buster, at plus 2,000 is not a bad bet either, considering that we just saw Kyler Murray won. The Oklahoma quarterback is, a guy that can win this award. So that's a little bit of odds right there for the Heisman Trophy. Still got plenty of time. Well, not really. College football is less than a month away, Benny. Miami and Florida play on August 23rd, and today is July 23rd. So we got a month.
A month away. Wow.
A month away before we get there. I'll go through that. Like, Benny, you don't do much college football, so I'll.
I haven't, but you know what? College football DFS is back.
Oh,
yeah, we're allowed. They started it towards the end of last season when all that stuff went down. So this year there will be full-fledged college football DFS.
It's not bad.
Yeah, it used to be one of my favorites. See, the thing I like about college football DFS, even more than the pros, is because they put up video game numbers. Like when you have lineup, when you're scoreboard watching college football DFS, it's like a pinball machine. Like when the pinball hits the thing and the number just keeps spinning. Like that's the way the scores are. You can go from being in like 1,000th place to being in 5th place in like 3 plays, and then all of a sudden 5 plays later you're back down to 400th place, and you're like, what the hell is going on here?
The one season when I played pretty regularly, I actually was playing Dak Prescott. Oh, and Dak Prescott was excellent in DFS.
Yeah, dual threat guy because he used to use his legs and he'd throw the ball with his arms. Like, college football DFS is a lot of fun. Again, I'm not the biggest college football guy. You know, again, growing up in Jersey, you know, we got Rutgers, and nobody gives a shit about Rutgers because it's Rutgers football.
Isn't Rutgers the birthplace of college football?
Yeah. It's like Hoboken's the birthplace of baseball, but, you know, whatever.
Hoboken is famous for baseball and Frank Sinatra. Shout out to old Blue Eyes. All right, buddy, let's get some baseball picks and get ready to get up out of here.
Yeah, there's really only two things that I'm kind of looking at here today. I like the Padres. The kid Paddock on the mound for them is pretty good. And they're going up against the Mets, and the Mets are throwing Jason Vargas, who I think is absolute trash. But the other reason I really like them is the Padres are a lot of the Padres' good bats are right-handed, and Vargas is a lefty who struggles with right-handed bats. So, like, they fit very well. You know, the Paddock should have a very good game against the Mets lineup. And like I said, I don't think Vargas is very good. It is at the Mets. Yeah, the Mets are home today.
Worry about rain on that one, right?
Yeah, I mean, again, we'll have to see how the weather goes out. But if that game plays, I do like Paddock at -125.
Okay.
The other game I'm actually looking at is the Marlins, which, you know, is not normally a team I'm going to be betting on here. But I like the kid that they have pitching here today. And they're going up against the Chicago White Sox, who are pitching Dylan Covey, who's a guy who I don't think is very good. So Miami -115. You know, there are a couple other games that I thought were locks, Corey, but they're like -240, -235. Like, there's not a lot. The money on them isn't really good. That's why I like the Padres in Miami here, because I'm getting the Padres at -125 and I'm getting the Marlins at -115. So those are the two teams that I actually have the most interest in. And then for those of you looking to make some money, I'll throw you a home run prop here today. I really like Ronald Acuna to hit a home run today off Danny Duffy. Duffy's a guy that absolutely struggles with right-handed bats. He's good against lefties, absolutely struggles with righties. So I'm looking at guys like Acuna, maybe Donaldson, but Acuna being the one I like the most to hit a home run today.
On the FanDuel Sportsbook, Ronald Acuna is +310 to hit a home run. Also on the FanDuel Sportsbook, a Padres Marlin parlay pays out at +227. So there you go, right there. There you go.
Yeah, I'm playing them both individually. The Padres and the Marlins, just taking the -125 and the -115. But maybe I'll throw a little bit on them parlay together, because yesterday was a pretty good night with, you know, all the teams that we talked about yesterday kind of hitting.
All right, there you go right there. And then don't forget that +310 on Ronald Acuna. He's one of the best young ball players in the league right there. Big piece of chicken. Oh, I don't know where to start, Benny. You go first. Big piece of chicken. Nobody made me happy yesterday.
Yeah, well, Nelson Cruz made me happy. It was only I think it was -240 is what I got him at to hit the home run. But I told you yesterday, Nelson Cruz.
Oh, you mean +240?
+240, sorry, +240, yeah. +240 to hit a home run. I took him yesterday, and I took Dan Vogelbach. Vogelbach did not hit a home run. But the fact that Nelson Cruz went yard actually made up for Vogelbach not hitting a home run yesterday. So I'm giving Nelson Cruz death taxes, and Nelson Cruz against a lefty gets my big piece of chicken.
You get mine too. You win for Benny, you win for me. Shout out to everybody. Don't forget fantasyguru.com. Draft kit up and rolling right now. The podcast is being dropped every day. You might want to get ready to check that out as you get ready for 2019 fantasy football season. Also, Elite Fantasy. They already got their NFL product up and rolling. I'm quite sure these sites will be dropping their DFS, week one stuff any day now. And not to mention Elite Sports Betting. And don't forget, if you want to play over at My Prize Picks, the promo code is ELITE. My main man, Benny, is Corey Parson, the Fantasy Executives. Opening line, we are out.